Hi, I'm Kaylin here with Living in the Flow, watching my hair. How do you deal with the corona effects? So we kind of got some crazy times going on right now. And Cami, my harlequin macaw, who is just 3.5 months old, and I are here today to talk to you about how to spiritually deal with the corona effects. Whether you, maybe it'll just be me, whether you are out of work um, or working, everyone is going to be impacted by this if they haven't already been. So, spiritually, how do you deal with this? Well, if you know some about spirituality, you know that one of the first tenets, so to speak, is to practice non judgment. If you are coming from a place of non judgment, then that means that this circumstance of the corona effects. Can you close the door? Thank you. This circumstance is no different than the circumstances of 6 months ago. So, from that perspective, if you let yourself diffuse the fact that it's the corona effect kind of thing, that's going to help. Now, it doesn't change the fact that you're either out of work or maybe you're sick. Maybe you know someone who's sick. Like, I understand that it's still really affecting your life, but you want to find your power, and your power is going to be by living those spiritual principles. So we're going to go, okay, so this is a circumstance. From that perspective, if you have more time right now, or if you're nervous, the first thing you want to do is really want to look at how can I address my need. So start by finding what your need is. Am I nervous? Am I needing money? Am I not knowing what to do? Am I watching the news and going crazy? I have had several people tell me that either after they watch the news, they have to flow their energy, or after they watch the news, they're freaked out. If the news is freaking you out, then you probably would benefit to do one of two things. Don't watch it, which I don't necessarily recommend, or learn to put the news in perspective. So find what you need to do. Let's say it's the news. Learn to either flow your energy, learn to meditate, learn a breathing technique that's going to really help you so that when you watch the news, you can kind of take it with a grain of salt. So, whether we like it or not, life is always providing challenges for us every day. These days, you may feel that there are more challenges. Within those challenges, there's also always opportunities. So, when you look at what it is that you need, if you need to learn to watch the news without getting scared, then maybe the opportunity here is for you to learn to sustain who you really are instead of getting all, worked up by the news. They're really good at that, the news, that's their job, that's what they focus on. And so they specialize in kind of like hitting that panic button. So maybe it's a good time for you to learn to come around and come instead from yourself. Recognize that they're hitting the panic button and translate it. Like, translate what they're saying. If you reduce the panic statements out of what they're saying, and maybe if you bring what they're saying down to who, what, where, when, why, you're going to have a very different piece of information that isn't all, fearful. Let's say that you're out of work right now. That's going to be one of the most challenging situations I think that's going to come out of all of this, because the financial impact is going to be pretty big. If you know about economics, you know that like a dollar spent is like $10 made in the economy, in the sense that you spend a dollar. Let's say your waitress gets the tip. Now she earns the dollar, and let's say she goes to the grocery store and she buys a candy bar or something like that. Now the candy maker makes an extra dollar, so they give an employee a bonus, or maybe they hire another employee they needed. It goes on and on. So now, if we are sort of reducing businesses and the output, the financial impact could be rather significant. So again, you could freak out, but spiritually speaking, think of Buddha. Is it something Buddha would do? No. Now, I understand that you don't want to go have to live under a tree. We're all like, we really admire that Buddha did that, but maybe that's not the path for us. I'm with you. But what I want you to get a sense of is that Buddha didn't change who he was. So let's not change who we are. Let's stay with who we are. When you don't want to work and you can't get work, like who cares, right? You didn't want to work anyway, and it's easy to kind of say, oh, they're not hiring or whatever. But when we are working or we do want to work and we can't work, that can have a sense that's very frustrating and very difficult. If you've got something like that going on, in the link below, if I can put a link in on a live, I'm going to link to a video that'll teach you how to flow your energy. Because if you are feeling energies of being held back, of not being allowed to work, of being limited, of being controlled, then the very best thing you can do is flow your energy. When you get your energy in the flow, one of the things that happens is that you're going to raise your frequency. You're going to let the undesirable energies that you have just really wash away, and you're going to bring forward a energy that's going to be higher vibrating. So let this be a time of letting yourself find what you need. Because if, for example, you're out of work and you are feeling some of these energies, then they are energies that are within you. I know you didn't feel them last week. I know you might not have felt them a month ago. Maybe you haven't, to your awareness, felt like this ever. But if you've got it going on now, it is within your energy. So, unfortunately, this is a time to really take advantage and find the opportunity of raising your own energy, of finding the opportunities to find what you need. Maybe you need to raise your energy. Maybe you need to spend some time meditating, coming back to yourself. Because in some ways, whether we like it or not, it seems like we're going to have that time. We're going to have that time to be at home, to cook for ourselves, to think about taking care of our own house, our own bodies, nourishing ourselves. And so it's a really good time to take care of yourself spiritually as well. Being on a spiritual path doesn't mean that like there's magic in your air. That could very well be because your frequency could be higher if you're on a spiritual path, like if you meditate all the time, and therefore there could be magic in your air. But that doesn't denote a spiritual path. A spiritual path really comes from doing things like taking these opportunities and using the opportunity to take care of yourself and raise your frequency. So I know that you've probably got a lot of feelings. Like I said, if you're watching the news, maybe of fear, that kind of thing, or frustration if you're not allowed to work right now. I know you have a lot of feelings going on, and it's a really good time to flow those feelings and really flow that energy. But it's also a really great time to focus on yourself and on raising your own frequency. I would love to hear any comments or questions. If you have anything that you'd like me to address, that would be great. And otherwise, stay safe and make sure that you do spend the time connecting with yourself.